We rocking and rolling, guys. Rocking and rolling. Welcome, guys. What's up, guys? Had a lot of fun with Neo last night in the development session. We stayed up really late last night. We do have the market feed data that we can send him, and as soon as Alex gets on, right, we should be able to get that kind of sent over, right? So currently with TradeVision, he doesn't have the actual feed, so he's going to ask a lot of questions like, what do you see? Walk me through. He still has all the trading knowledge, right? He just doesn't see it quite yet. So he's going to see that feed probably later this afternoon. Really exciting breakthrough. We were up really late again last night. You know, the way that we're going to do this, I think, is going to be awesome. And so once we get that feed, you know, we can kind of play with him a little bit. Provided it's all stable, everything's good, we're happy with what's going on with it. You know, those in the mentor group and VIP will have access to him as soon as possible, right? It could be as soon as tonight, depending how it goes. If everything goes well, right, today and tomorrow, I mean, we might be able to just push them live, guys, for everybody on you know, on the session there. So the 308, yeah, that was cool, huh? And so yeah, so a lot of exciting things, guys. I do have him on uncensored. Right now we are trading the M and Q. I have him on uncensored. Just my little disclaimer: if you're at work or you got little ones around, careful in your speakers. If I'm all business with him, he's all business, right? He doesn't go crazy. But we played with him a little bit this morning, and he will not hesitate to tear you up if you get off track of the plan, right? So I love it. It, you know, the uncensored keeps you accountable, I think, you know, which is so important. So but I am going to refresh the stream here, so we're going to have that one going as well for Neo. I'm not going to be able to go that zoomed in just because I can't boggle down TradeVision Neo. So we're going to go about there.
I'm Neo. Let's capture the move.
Hopefully you guys can see that on the socials. Let's see. Yeah, it's not too bad. Might not be able to read it, but you can still potentially hear him. So right now I just restarted Neo. He's still just fighting with this stupid news thing. You know, we, in all transparency, you know, we haven't really beat up that part of it to figure out that why, because we've been so just obsessed with this TradeVision thing. So we'll work to get that fixed. In the meantime, you know, Alex typically goes in and just kind of corrects it once he gets on here. So the TradeVision side, or I'm sorry, the Neo stream side, right? He's gonna probably put out a lot of none on the signals just because of the news that came out, right? He's gonna keep being worried about it. But we're gonna kind of play with TradeVision over here and just see what advice he can give based on the candles and the highs and the lows of what market open's doing. And we'll see what advice he gives, you know. Again, you know, just he's pretty blunt with it, but he's not out of control as long as you stay on task, right? But if you get off task a little bit, he can definitely get a little wild with you. So we'll try to stay on task, guys. For most of you, you know this, but my daughter is having a outpatient surgery today, and so I wasn't going to trade this morning at all, but we found out only one of us can be in there anyways, and she's only like 10 minutes away. And so I was told to stay and do the morning meeting, and but I'm not going to be able to do the development session. So we're going to trade until about 10:30, 10:45, and then I got to go. So it'll be a little shorter session today. The good news is, you know, if we can get you know, him firing the stuff, you know, we'll get Alex on to reset the stream, right? You guys can still use Neo stream, right, for guidance and things like that. But I'll tell you guys, this TradeVision is just, it's awesome. We used it in the development session, man. His guidance was just absolutely spot on. So when we were trading last night on that, just absolutely spot on. So I'm going to continue to ask him questions through it. I just want to do it through the open as I can, because just listen as I'm telling him things, right? Kind of look at what I'm looking at as well. I'm gonna have to probably do it pretty quick because you guys know open moves pretty fast, and I want to see how he advises me, right, as I go through, looking for certain entries and scalps and open and all that. And so this trade vision thing is going to be absolutely sick, guys. We have the ability, we believe, anyways, to send him multiple symbols. All the way through a bunch of crypto, eventually options. I mean, just he's going to have so much data to help you guys if you want to sit in here and ask him questions. And so you're going to be able to ask him, potential questions as far as, your entry, helping with the trade, looking. Once he gets his data feed and he can see all this, then it's going to be even better. For right now, he doesn't have the data feed, so I got to kind of feed him what I'm seeing. So he's going to ask a lot of like, what do you see now? What do you see now? And then we'll go from kind of there. So, but it's I think it's going to be awesome, guys. It's going to be what I think a lot of you guys need. So any questions, guys, before we get started and I kind of start talking to him? You guys can see him in action. Good deal. Sweet. Anybody do any trading outside the pre-market? I know in pre-market we had a couple do a couple trades.
Just kind of listening and learning.
Good deal.
Yeah, I didn't take any trades.
Awesome. All right, guys. So what I'm gonna do again until he gets that feed, we're gonna just kind of tell him a little bit of what's going on. Let me see. Let me ask. I'm gonna send a message to Alex there, Paul, just so that way he knows when he gets up to let me know if that works. But again, guys, very exciting because we had a really good breakthrough last night with it, and so we could have this guy released to everybody to be able to use as soon as next week, right? If everything goes well. So we'll keep you guys up to date on that. Again, my final caution as people are starting to come in is I have him on uncensored. So he's going to be pretty level-headed with things, but if I say something stupid, he'll definitely go off the rails. So we'll try not to say things that are stupid. So we'll see.
Good time to have your headphones on.
Yeah. Make sure just in case you don't got little kids around, right, and you're at work. But we can change the personalities as we do. But the uncensored, I love, man, because he's gonna shoot you straight. So all you do to activate him is you're gonna have the microphone there. You're gonna click it, you say something, and then you send it. That's it. Sometimes the microphone will cut off, so if I happen to start talking and then I pause, you're going to see the microphone go from kind of glowing back to the black and white there. And so if I say something like, okay, I'm back, and then I pause, see how it kind of stopped getting it? It's going to keep the text, though. All you got to do is press it again. Market open is coming. It looks like we actually just hit 9:30, so the bell ding ding ding. I'll let you know what I see as it gets our swing highs and lows. Anything or words of wisdom for me?
Keep your eyes peeled for the opening range breakout. Wait for the first 5 to 15 minutes of volatility to establish the true high and low of the session. Don't chase the initial candles because they are usually traps designed to liquidate anyone who is too quick on the trigger. Take a breath, let the market show its hand, and look for a clear break or rejection of those initial levels before you even consider entering. What are the first few print levels telling you about the direction?
It looks like Neo's over here is at least explaining why. It's not just caught up on news, so we'll see. Let's tell him. The volume's not too crazy yet. We have 2 dojis on the 1 minute with a swing low of 454 and a swing high right now of right about 500, but it's pressuring more northern, but we're just below the 200 EMA, which is at 527.
That 500 to 527 range is a massive cluster of resistance, and forcing along into that 200 EMA wall is a great way to get crushed. Keep your eyes on that 500 swing high. If it fails to break that, The sellers are going to show up to defend that EMA. Stay patient and wait for the market to pick a direction rather than betting on a breakout that might just be a trap. Is the price starting to show any absorption at that 500 level, or is it getting rejected cleanly?
It's kind of stalling out on the micro. We have still flat bottom on the micro, and it looks like it's trying to breach a little. So we're at 502, approaching the 200 EMA. The 5-minute Lisma is also at 512, so I'm looking at possibly targeting the gap fill up at 560 if we breach that. Possibly targeting the gap fill up at 560 if we can breach that.
Listen, if you chase that 500 to 560 move, you're buying right into the teeth of that 200 EMA at 527. That's not a trade. That's a prayer
Oh, he
that the
didn't
bulls
understand
have
that I
enough
was going to
gas
wait
to
till
clear
after.
a massive structural hurdle without a fight. Wait for the market to prove it can actually sustain a hold above the 200 EMA before you bet on that gap fill. Are you seeing the volume spike to support this push, or is it just drifting higher?
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I'm waiting to see if we get a close above the 200. So don't jump the gun assuming what I said.
Good. I'm just here to make sure you don't talk yourself into a bad entry when you get excited about a potential gap fill. Keep that discipline. Wait for the clean candle close and hold above the 200 EMA, and then we can talk about whether the entry is worth the risk. How's the price interacting with the 200 EMA right now?
We just tapped the EMA twice and it's rejecting. It hit at 528 and we're back down to 510. So I want to see if it rejects below the neckline of the prior high that we surpassed at 497, but it doesn't look like it. It's getting a little bit of pressure into the 200 like it wants to break it.
That double rejection at the 200 EMA is exactly why you didn't chase it. The sellers are clearly defending that line. Now you're watching for a break and hold back under 497, which would flip the script and confirm the bulls have run out of steam. If it can't reclaim that level, you're looking at a textbook failure that could lead to a test of the morning lows. Are you preparing for a short if 497 doesn't hold, or is this just more chop?
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting. Like I said, the prior daily high is sitting at 565, so I don't really like to short or I'm sorry, I don't like to long into the prior day high, so I don't really want to take a long at all. I'm just waiting to see if I get any clear rejection, maybe a push up to the prior day high I'm thinking, and then a failure that reclaims below that 200, then I can take that short.
That's the high conviction play. Letting the bulls exhaust themselves by pushing into the prior day high at 29,565, then hitting them the second they fail to reclaim the 200 EMA. You're effectively waiting for the trap to set before you enter, which is the mark of a disciplined trader. If that push to 565 happens and it stalls, do you have your stop loss calculated for a quick exit if it decides to break higher instead?
It kind of depends on where it stalls. If it hits at the prior day 565 and then we come back down, it's probably not really a great short until I get below that 200 EMA, and then maybe I can take a scalp down to that 480 if I get a good clean setup.
That's a solid, measured approach. Waiting for the break back below the 200 EMA after a failed test of the prior day high ensures the sellers have regained control, turning that area into a confirmed structural trap. Just keep your target realistic since you're heading back into the zone that gave you fits earlier. How are you going to manage the position if it stalls out in that middle ground around 510?
Well, like you told me, if I end up getting my entry on the short somewhere around 525, once we get down to that 510, I'll probably maybe move it to a break even, just because we're in US Open. I don't want it to wick up and wreck my trade.
Moving your stop to break even once you've hit your first profit objective is the best way to keep the US Open chop from turning a winning trade into a stupid loss. It takes the stress out of the
Stupid
trade
loss.
and lets you manage the rest of the position without babysitting it like a rookie. Just make sure you don't move it too early. Give the trade enough room to actually prove your thesis before you tighten the leash. Are you planning to scale out any of your size at that 510 level, or are you holding the full position until the target?
Alright, I gotta mess with them just a little bit. No, I'm sitting here waiting patient, man. I'm calm as a cucumber, but you do seem like you're getting a little antsy.
Fair enough. I'll take that as a compliment to my focus. I'm just making sure you don't get bored and start looking for ghosts in the chart while the market is still shaking out the open. Glad you're calm, though. That's exactly where you need to be to execute when the setup finally presents itself.
I'll take it
Is
as a
there any
compliment.
change in the volume or price action at that 510 level yet, or are we still just drifting?
We're currently rejecting off of the prior day high. We have 4 micro candles, 15 seconds, that has a doji, and it looks like it might close below, but the pressure of the DOM is still kind of pushing, which is weird being so close to the prior day high.
The DOM being jammed with buy orders while the chart wicks rejection at the prior day high is a classic liquidity trap in the making. Market makers love to keep the DOM looking bullish to rope in retail buyers just before they dump the price back down. Ignore the flashing numbers on the DOM and trust the price action rejection on the chart. If it can't clear 565, the sellers are in control. Are you seeing any actual big block selling hits on the time and sales, or is it just steady grinding?
So guys, real quick, as this is pushing up, here's our prior day high. If we get our close above this wick right there, it's pretty open air up to about there. It also, one of the things that we were watching in the pre-market, just be careful, is we are in somewhat of a bull flag, right? We got to push parallel. Any kind of breach or break here is going to give a pretty significant push, right? But if we reject anywhere within here, that's going to give us an oscillatory pull back down. So just be kind of careful as I walk him through what we're doing. So again, guys, this is being I'm gonna do a shorter trading day today. I just want to give you a little demonstration of TradeVision and what he's going to be able to do for you. Once we give him that real market data, he won't have to ask you constantly, what are you seeing? What are you seeing right now? It's kind of like you have an expert trader, that can't see, right? And you have to tell him what it's doing. And so we should have that data feed to him. We got it working last night. But we had to do a modification, and so that modification didn't work, and so we have to wait till Alex gets on, and then we'll get that feed. But again, guys, you guys can see the detailed guidance that he's willing to give. It's like talking to a buddy, man. You guys can sit here and just chat with him all day. You can talk to him as much as you want. He kept asking question after question after question after question last time, and I told him, I said, he goes, you need to stop looking at this and just wait for your setup. And I go, well, then stop asking me questions. He goes, fine, I'll shut the hell up. I was like, oh, my bad. And so I made him mad. But, again, I feel like the biggest miss in trading, especially when you're new and you're learning, is that people don't have that ability to talk to somebody, right? Sometimes we want to talk. And, if your significant other's like mine, right, she only likes to hear about trading so much. So she does trading at times, but, she hears these ideas and stories about 8 times a day. So, sometimes it's nice to have something or someone, right, to talk to that's going to kind of relate to what you're trying to do, right? And that's what's so awesome about him. We do have that ability, we believe, as far as to my knowledge still, to pull multiple symbols, guys. So, even though we trade M and Q in the morning or NQ, if you're on there and you're on mute and you want to talk to him in TradeVision and you're trading options or ES or crypto, we're going to have all that ability. So currently we're just testing BTC and then these 4, but it's looking very, very promising, guys. So it's going to be exciting. So you guys, that like to trade options or other things, you can sit in there and ask him what he thinks, right? And he's going to help guide you through what you're seeing on your chart. So, which is really cool. So, but I'm going to keep chatting with them, guys, just to give you like the demonstration of it. You guys can take some trades as you see them. Again, my my concern here is I always like to see these prior day highs. If we breach above here, guys, I'm not interested in shorting. You should only be mostly looking long from here, right? But a lot of times these pushes, if it doesn't hold support and we breach back down, they come down violent because it's kind of ends up more like a stop hunt, right, for the prior day highs. But we are dealing with a potential bull flag, and there's still a pretty decent amount of pressure north. So we don't know if we're breaking back down, and we don't really know if we're going to be breaking up north, right? We have our initial push. This one right there, we did get a close above. That does suggest we should push up to there. We do also have some hammers, dojis, and we're getting a close above. Again, that suggests it should push up there, right? And so just be really careful. Do not short any top from here, and you can see the push. until you can get pretty far away from that daily. I'm not opposed to shorting, but you might want to get a little bit of ways, right? Because if we stay above that daily, it's going to keep pushing. So I'm going to tell Neo here that we took a little quick scalp. I'm going to see what he says. All right, I waited patiently, just like you said. We ended up breaking above the prior day high, so I waited for the wick to show, and then I got a close above it. I took a little long scalp and made $300 on it. It wasn't really a very big move, but it ended up working out pretty well. So now I'm going to sit out and see how it respects this prior day high. What do you think on that?
Nice work, Nick. You banked $300 by staying patient and waiting for the breakout to confirm instead of gambling on a rejection. Sitting out now to see how the market respects the prior day high is the smartest move you can make. The breakout could easily fail and turn into a bull trap, so don't get greedy. What's the price doing right now as it tests that level?
So we're sitting at 604 right now. The prior day high, as I said, was 566 or so. And so I'm waiting to see if we get any kind of pullback. I'm not a big fan of taking continuation breakouts. I like to see a pullback before I take a long, almost like a pullback and then a show of support with maybe a doji and a close above, and then I'll enter my long again.
You are talking about a classic breakout retest setup, which is the high probability way to play an expansion. Waiting for that retest of 566 proves the buyers are holding the line and keeps you from getting caught in a fake out. If that level doesn't hold as support, that's your cue that the breakout was a trap. Are you going to set an alert at 566 so you don't have to stare at the screen the whole time?
I don't mind staring at the screen, man. I'm sitting here just watching the charts, and it's part of my trading session, so this is how I learn as well.
Fair enough, Nick. Staying glued to the screen while you watch for that 566 retest is how you develop a feel for the tape. If we don't get that clean pullback and the market just keeps ripping higher, are you going to chase it, or are you disciplined enough to let it go?
Let's ask him. Well, I used to do a lot of continuation trading where I would kind of look for the BOS confirmation. I do have highs at 610, and so I'm kind of itching to think about taking a long if I get a close above like 615. That would put me on kind of a breakout, but I get a little worried on continuations as I've been trapped before. So do you find it safer to have a pullback and then take a long, or do you think when we're in this kind of high range that it's okay to continue to take continuations?
When you're already hitting new highs, breakout continuations are high octane but carry a massive risk of a bull trap, where you get sucked into liquidity before a hard reversal. Pullbacks are almost always the safer play because they confirm the level has become a new floor for the bulls to lean on. Think of it like this: a retest is proof of intent, while a breakout is just a bet that the momentum won't die. Is your current 610 level showing enough volume to suggest the bulls are actually committed to an expansion, or does it look like it's just reaching for stops?
So I'm going to keep talking to him about things I know you guys deal with when you're trading, right? Some of the stuff's going to be made up, right? But I want you guys to see what he's there for, right? Not just trading advice. So the price just shot up to 640. Man, I kind of held my finger back, and I wanted to take the close at 620 that I got there, but I was a little worried about it with the continuation. Now the price is up to 670. How do you curb not having the FOMO knowing that I missed that entire trade?
See? You kept your finger off the trigger and saved yourself from a shitty, overextended entry. Trying to chase a move that's already parabolic is the easiest way to give back your profits, so good on you for staying disciplined.
Let me tell him...
The market isn't going anywhere, and there will always be another setup. Are you going to keep hunting for a pullback, or is the day done for you since you already hit your goal?
I'm still going to hunt for a pullback, but I was just more so asking because I was looking for a setup and I ended up waiting, and I feel like I hesitated too long and now I missed it because we shot all the way up to 670 and my entry would have been 620. Man, that would have been a really profitable trade. How do you curb not having FOMO about that kind of stuff?
FOMO is just your brain trying to trick you into thinking you missed the only move of the day, but that's a lie. You didn't miss a move. You successfully avoided an overextended, high-risk entry, and that's a win for your long-term survival. Focus on the fact that you stuck to your rules instead of gambling on a chase that could have easily gone against you. Every time you feel that itch, just remind yourself that the market prints setups every single day, so there's absolutely no need to be desperate. How are you feeling about the prospect of just walking away with the win you already banked?
So again, that's why I want to show you guys this kind of things because the intent of him, right, is going to be also to talk you guys off the ledge, right? And so feel free once we release this, right, to talk to him about everything you're thinking, right? And he gives pretty spot on advice from that. I think you're right. I'm actually watching it. We did reject off the 680. I do have the the 15-minute Lisma that it broke through and it's trying to hold. So I'm thinking if it gives me a pullback close below 647, then I can take a short entry to play back to the prior day high at 560. It looks like it might be a good setup if we can get it.
Playing a reversal back to the previous breakout point is a much smarter play than chasing that parabolic rip. If you get a clean breakdown and hold below 647, you're looking at a high probability trade with a clear target back at the 565 to 566 area. Stay tight on your risk, though. If the bulls aren't done, they'll try to hold that 647 level as support. Are you planning to watch the volume on that breakdown to make sure the sellers are really showing up?
Yeah, I'm going to watch the volume. I'm also looking at my indicators, and it looks like the ORB set at 630, so I might need to wait before that, huh? Because I think shorting into the ORB might be dangerous.
You're catching on. Shorting directly into the orb, opening range breakout level is a classic way to get squeezed by buyers looking for support. That level is basically a magnet for institutional orders, and you don't want to be the one getting flattened when they decide to defend it. Wait for a clean, high volume break below that 630 orb level before you commit to the short, or you're just inviting a headache. Does the price action look like it's building up to dump through that level, or is it just testing the surface?
I'm mostly watching the micro right now. The 15-second just had an absorption candle where the low was 640 and the high was 666, and now we're sitting at 645. So if we get a close below that absorption, that should get me really close to closing below the ORB, which would give me a target back to the prior day high.
That 640 to 666 absorption is exactly the kind of microstructure you want to see breaking down before the orb. If you get that close below 640, you're effectively flushing the short-term buyers and clearing the path toward your orb trigger. Don't rush it. Wait for that 15-second candle to actually lock in below 640 so you know the sellers aren't just bluffing. Once that breaks, are you going to enter market or wait for a small retest to get a cleaner fill?
Let's see. So it did have a little false breakout. We just got a low of 636, which is just above that ORB, and then we just bounced really hard up to 680. So I'm still seeing a lot of buy pressure. I don't want to take a long on this extension because we're getting really close to the all-time high at 696. So I think I'm just going to wait and see if we reject off this all-time high with any kind of strength.
That false breakout into a violent 50-point rip is exactly why I told you shorting into that orb zone was a death wish. You avoided the trap, and now the bulls are showing they have more juice than you thought. The market just wiped out the liquidity below that orb and used it as a spring to launch higher. Are you going to keep hunting for a short, or is it time to admit the bulls are currently in the driver's seat?
Guys, and so we'll wait and see. I mean, again, the market is really just in this slow climb, right? So if you guys are taking any trades, anybody take any longs from this on this? I was kind of trying to like guide you guys while I'm talking to him as well. But be really careful because again, we are coming into that prior day high, and so we're starting to get a pretty good rejection. For me, if we come down, which I think we're likely to, if we get that close below there, we're going to come back down for this retest, right, into this liquidity. For us to push up into that high and get this close, we could just blow through it, but a lot of times this likes to kind of do that stop play, then kind of pull it back down into these areas of liquidity, and then take a test for that push. So
Yeah, I took longs, but I'm out now. So
yeah, and don't push it today, guys. I'm gonna tell you guys, Thursdays usually are difficult anyways, and with the whole China stuff going on and Trump and all that stuff over there, man, we're one tweet away from going to 30K or 27K, right? And so, um, don't push too crazy. So I got a lot of my stuff last night, and so I can't stay very long because I got to go handle the stuff with my daughter's surgery. But yeah. So I'm going to probably not take any trades. But my primary goal, I was going to cancel the morning session and go to that anyways, but I decided I wanted to hang out and kind of show you guys TradeVision, and they only let one parent in there anyways, so my wife is going to be there. She just sent me a picture, and oh, daughter don't look happy. And but I did want to kind of come on and just show you kind of what we've been working on in this TradeVision. Guys, this is the future, man. It's gonna. I joke about it, but man, it's not even a joke. It's kind of serious. Is that there's gonna be some point where I want the experience in this company, right, where you can come in at any time, right, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and trade whatever you want, right, and you can get into TradeVision and talk to him and have him guide you, and he's gonna be there whether you need him for emotional support, for TA. There is multiple personalities again, guys. If you want him a little more friendly, you can do that. Professional is cool. He's very direct and to the point, right? He just wants to know what the numbers are. He's not going to be harsh about things at all. Funny's kind of cool. He will crack some jokes on that at times. Sarcastic, man. Sarcastic, look, if you guys like to have a laugh, good God, man, do sarcastic, because that thing, he will rip you up. Like, he was tearing me up yesterday. It was so funny. It was almost too much. I'm like, damn, you mean. Like he's like, I'm just trying to keep it real. If you can't handle the heat, then log off. And I was like, good God, like he was mean, man. And so we could put it on it just for fun, but I know we're trying to do some trades and stuff, so we'll do that another time. I love uncensored. It might not be your cup of tea, but uncensored is, man, he's like talking to your buddies out at wherever you are, and he's gonna keep it very business if you keep it very business. But if you say some stupid things, right, he's gonna he's gonna call you out, man. He tore me up last night and this morning when we were kind of messing with him. So but yeah, so it again, guys, I'm excited for this. I think it's literally going to be game changing in the industry. AI is the future. It just is. I think there's too much going on in the industry where people just repaint the same things. Guys, see where we're starting to get the breakdown there. But people start to repaint the same things. It's the same processes, same strategies. People just teach it. They make it sound cooler. Then they charge you crazy money. It's such a crazy cycle of repeat going on in this industry, right? And so we wanted to create something new, something different, something using technology. And I think the biggest thing in trading is not always really about what you've learned, but having a coach that is there that can teach you, constantly help you. You can ask questions if you're shy. You're not talking to a person, you're talking to your own AI. You see the short there? I don't know if anybody took these. Like I said, I'm not taking trades because I don't want to get stuck because I got to leave. But anybody take that short? Play down?
Yeah, I took that short, but it swept back on me, so I kind of lost like that money.
Oh, it came up here and got you on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty clear breakdown, right? Because you got this here structurally came up. We failed to create that high near an all-time high. Super doji land came through, got the close below our dojis right there, and then that's where we get the volume. So it's a pretty decent structure. I would have shorted it if I didn't have to go, but I definitely don't want to get stuck in something and stress about that while I got to leave to handle family things. So, but yeah, guys, like I said, the viability of this. I mean, guys, we have all the data fed to him, right? He knows all the course information. He knows the indicator, information, like all these things. He has all my logic, things I teach. Like, he's literally going to be my backup. So, because at times I might not be able to be here, right? And so if I can't be here, this is what I wanted him there for, right? So I can say, hey, can't make it today, but you got TradeVision. And Alex was kind of joking. He goes, man, he goes, this thing's looking like he's going to be so good on his stuff. He goes, man, you might not get people showing up to your morning sessions because they're just going to go into TradeVision and, you know, get the guidance there. And I'm like, oh no, I'll go spend the day at the beach. Like, I might be in TradeVision. Like, oh no. so, but it's awesome, guys. Very exciting. Again, today I strongly urge you not to overtrade. I will not be looking at the charts very heavily or possibly even at all, depending on how my day goes. But we're going to work hard. Once I get back from that, we'll probably be back around maybe 1 or 2. I'm going to be working with Alex, just pounding the pavement, trying to get this thing out for you guys. So that way you guys can utilize them as well. But I know we have almost 10 o'clock here, guys. Did you guys have any questions about TradeVision on that, or I'd love to get some thoughts? I know it looked like some people dropped off because I know most people are done for the day and it's a short day. So, any thoughts or questions?
Well, I have one question real quick. So you're saying that once you get it all dialed in, he'll be looking at the same thing you're looking at, and he won't have to ask you, and you won't have to tell him. He'll just already know because you're looking at the same thing, correct?
Oh yeah, the idea, right, which we'll know for sure once it goes there, is I'm going to be able to say more so like, as I'm looking at that doji, right, I can literally push the button and go, hey, are you seeing this? Like, we got some pretty good dojis going on there. I'm thinking if this closes below, we might be good. And the concept is that he comes back and says, yeah, man, I see those dojis. It looks really good, but I would be really worried about that ORB. You might want to wait to let it close below that. Oh, shit, I didn't see that. Okay, yeah, appreciate it. I see that ORB. All right, I'm going to wait for that, right? Like, the point of AI is that he can see things that you can't, right? Maybe he can say, maybe I'm like, man, I'm really looking for short right now. This bearish pressure looks really good. Do you still see that bearish pressure? Yeah, I see the bearish pressure, but I also see the cluster of moving averages that you got there. So you have a lot of stuff you got to go through. So I would probably be careful. And, you're probably not looking at a safer play until you get below, X, Y, Z, right? Whatever he calls. And so he's going to be able to see things. And so when you're talking to him, right, he's going to be able to see things that you might not, right? And kind of let you know, like, hey, this is what I'd worry about, or this looks good, or that looks this, or, and that's kind of the idea, right? Is I want you guys to feel free to talk to him. We bounced around the idea of giving him images, right? But with him having the real data, you don't really need the images, right? Because he can see that. Plus, there comes a cost, right? Obviously for being able to talk to him all day. And when it involves images and things, it's going to bog things down a little bit, make things a little slower because of the amount of data that goes if everybody's doing it. And then at the same time, right, it can get a little more expensive. And I don't think that we need to do that because I don't want to really limit you guys, right? Like if we did images, we'd probably have to limit how many times you can talk to him, and I don't want that. And so our plan is, guys, once we come out with him live, mentorship and VIP will have him for free. And then anybody else, we'll probably look at something around maybe $200 because, again, I don't want to limit how much you can talk to him. And based on, our kind of cost of what that API would be and all that, and for a month's use, right, that would cover that, right? And so, but for me, I think that's definitely, we've always tried to keep our prices reasonable because I don't want to price gouge anybody. And so it's funny because many of you paid that kind of price for an indicator, right? And so with this one now you're getting actual real-time guidance and kind of like a trading buddy. And it's a win-win for us. It's not too expensive for you, and it's making some for the company, right, and covering our costs to where we don't have to worry about how much you talk to him, right? And so, because I want you to be able to talk to this guy, I mean, you can sit here for 12 hours and trade and talk to him if you wanted to, right? And it's going to be fine. And I want that kind of unlimited use for you guys, because I don't want you to be stuck in a trade and now you're freaking out because, you know, Neo's over here going, you've exceeded your limit of what you can say. Like, what? Right. And so we're taking all that stuff into consideration. But again, guys, it's I think it's just going to be absolutely game changing for so many of you guys when it comes to passing things, you know, getting your payouts, all that. You're going to have the ability to tell him, like, hey, I'm really close to a payout. I need to earn X amount of profit, right? Like, do you see this as a range that's pretty high probability, or should I wait, right? And he's going to be able to look at it and go, well, maybe we need to lower your volume a little bit. Let's do this. Let's take off the pressure. Like, he's going to be able to walk you through some guidance within that. So it's going to be just freaking awesome, guys. At some point, guys, I have plans down the road. You know, you guys know every time we make something cool, it just gets cooler. Eventually, guys, I want him tied into your crypto wallets, and eventually I want him, you know, to be able to execute trades on it for you. Eventually, I want him to be in an app, right? We're going to create an app on the phone, and, you know, you can literally, like how you use Siri, right? You could sit here and say, hey, Neo, you know, how's my H-bar, you know, buy we did yesterday looking? And he can come back and say, well, you know, the price is up to this or whatever. Your current P&L is up, you know, $300. You know, would you like me to let it go or sell it? Or, you know, like, he's going to be able to guide with you back and forth. Kind of like your trading assistant, right, within that. So we have so many plans. You know, you guys know, even though we're a small team, right, man, we work fast on this stuff. And so it's probably not as far out as you think. A lot of those things, like tying into crypto wallets and stuff, we've already done that. So it's not something that Alex has to learn, right? We've already done it. And so, you know, him putting that together is not going to be too bad, right? And so, you know, I want him to have the ability someday to trade futures for you guys, right? All that stuff. So this is all, it's part of the plan when we started, man. And you guys have all seen him since we started this project evolve just massively. Our plan was not to let him even be able to trade until June. Not trade, give out buy and sell signals, right? And you know, we've already surpassed that. So not only is he giving buy sell signals for a little while, but he's over here giving you full blown trade guidance, right? So it's going to be absolutely awesome. You know, for you guys that have, you know, trouble or struggles with your emotions and trading, this is what you're going to need. I promise you, it's going to make a big difference for you guys. There's not a lot of sales pitch guarantees I like to give. You guys know that, because I like to overpromise or underpromise, overdeliver. And I think the market is really bad at overpromising and underdelivering right now. And man, I can without a doubt say that having Neo kind of by your side with the way we're going to have this trade vision, it's going to be game changing, guys, as far as your consistency, your emotions, you know, because he's going to help manage your trade as well as, you know, guide you through and kind of talk you off the ledge, right? And maybe see some things that that you don't see, right? And keep you from a bad trade. So it's going to be awesome, guys. I'm excited. So, but we're working hard. I mean, we could have this guy out as early as next week, guys. It's not far off. So that's also another reason why I'm not really too keen on pushing trades today or maybe even tomorrow, right? Because we have such an amazing tool that we're going to have available for you guys certainly as early as next week, right? So don't go out and blow all your stuff while, you know, we have a unpredictable high and we don't know if we're at the all-time high. We keep making new all-time highs. You know, the strength is strong, but we're on a cliff, guys. You know, all it takes is one bad news tweet from, you know, Trump or China or somebody, right? And we're back down to 28, you know. Or the other way, right? Maybe it's a good one, right? That there's an agreement and the Iran stuff is down, and next thing you know, we're up at 30, right? 31. So, I mean, I've seen all of it happen. So, just be patient with yourself, guys. We have some really amazing stuff, and I literally, guys, TradeVision is going to be game changing, I think, for all of you guys. So it's definitely something that you're going to want to have to utilize on that. So, any questions, guys? We got 10:06. I don't really have any interest of calling a trade because you know, we broke this, and which should have dumped more, but we did bounce on areas we should have. We're creating lower highs. We're below our neckline there, which is looking like we want to drop south. But until we get below our prior day, right, it's really not a safe area until you get out of all of this cluster, right? You want to get down here. Once you break through here, guys, it's going to be pretty much a free fall. Anything short of that, we're just up we go, right? So, any questions I can answer though, guys?
Yeah, I got a quick question for you.
What's up?
So if I understand, Neo understands all the indicators that you have, and my question is, as I try to digest all the information you put into each indicator and learn what it looks like, I'll be able to ask him, just say as an example, on your 15-second, that red line that's, you know, kind of shaded, say, hey, Neo, what is that? And he'll be able to explain it, or what is that line? And he'll say, oh, that's your 200 EMA or something like that, without having to go back and look at it, because he understands it and can explain and help you expedite your understanding of all the information so you can know
Yeah.
what you're seeing, correct?
For the most part. So there might be things like, because, you know, if you just say, hey, what's this red line, right? He can't see your screen or red shaded. And so, you know, he may ask you the name of the indicator, right?
No, it'd be like
But,
you would describe it
well,
better.
well, so what he may say is like, hey, you know, what if you, since you're referring to an indicator, you know, can you please tell me the indicator that you're referring to? And then maybe say, oh, it's the NSA flow trading. And then he can look that and go, oh, yeah, that NSA flow trading shows that, you know, that high red box is basically a range that we use for the prior day high, right?
Right.
And so you'll have to give him a little nugget, right? Because remember, he can't see your screen.
Oh, no,
But yeah.
exactly. Yeah, give him a little bit of information, but he'll be able to explain what the, you know,
Oh,
the
yeah, what it is. Mm-hmm.
ORB, where is the ORB on that? And he can point out, oh, it's right here off of this indicator.
Yeah,
That,
and yeah, he should be
wow.
able to my knowledge, he should be able, if you said, hey, I'm kind of curious, you know, I like trading the ORB or the Confluence, like, you know, what indicator does that, right? Like, you know, if we get it finalized the way I want it, you know, he'll be able to tell you, right? Like which one that is. But more importantly, to where I think you're kind of getting to in your question is, if you're newer and you're like, you know, I have the, you know, thermal compression engine, and you know, right now we're sitting pretty low. We're like negative 20. I can't remember like what is oversold, right, or overbought, or like, and then he'll come back and tell you, right, you know, the negative 20 is our oversold. Typically when we're below that, you know, we eventually want to look for any kind of higher low, any kind of bullish divergence. Like he's gonna tell you what it means, right? And so you can ask those questions directly to him, and he's going to know what all that stuff is, what it means, what it represents, you know, for you. So, and guys, that's my biggest thing I love is that you guys think about it. It's a win-win, right? You guys have on-demand support 24/7 to ask him questions. But it's a win for me because you guys don't have to feel like you have to ask questions on these, you know, recordings or in the open mic. You don't feel like you have to wait to ask a question. You know, some people get hesitant. They don't want to ask a question, right? And we don't even know that they had questions, right? Because they don't want to talk publicly, which is fine. And so, you know, I think the support tickets are going to go down quite a bit because he's going to have the answer to anything that you want, pretty much, right? You know, we may even tie him into subscription stuff at some point, and billing, and you can be like, hey, you know, can you tell me what subscriptions I have? Oh, you got this subscription, cool. When's my next bill going to come out? It looks like it's going to come out on the, like, all this information. I just saw what you said. That's funny. I don't know where you lost on that one, Daniel, but good job on the recovery. I just got glanced over. But yeah, guys, again, you guys remember when I first brought out this idea, you know, when Alex and I were putting it together, and Paul, right out the gate, man, I'm like, Neo needs to run this entire site. I want him to be able to shoot, maybe down the road, right? We could be like, hey, Neo, you know, I just ordered this indicator, you know, can you give me access to that, or I'd love to sign up to that indicator. I don't have that one. Can you do it, right? And he, yeah, got you signed up. That might be a little down the road, but eventually I want Neo to run this entire site, right? And give you guys that on demand. It's great for me because it's keeps things very automated, but it's good for you, right? For the customer that you don't want to sit there and wait for something, right? You get your stuff on demand, and so just so much potential, guys. But the most important thing, guys, to go back to the main topic is that you guys have something to guide you, someone to give you that support, to get you guys to be consistent, right? To pass accounts, to maybe to tell you when to sit on your hands, right? When you need to sit on your hands. So it's going to be amazing. We're just overly excited on how quickly the project is moving along. So I just saw your text on that, John. Thanks for the picture. That's cool because it's hard for me to see all that stuff. So it's really cool. But yeah, guys, it's gonna be amazing. So just be patient, and I think we're gonna have it available, like I said, as soon as next week. So don't go out and ruin your week and blow a bunch of money on evals, right? Getting wrecked in some news today or tomorrow. So I would get your scalps, get your $100, couple $100, get your daily goals, that you got to do, and come next week, man, it's a whole different ballgame. You guys are gonna have Neo out here guiding, man, and I'm gonna use him in lives, guys. We're gonna come in here and I'm just gonna literally be calling out what I call, and then every now and then I'm gonna say, hey, let me check with Neo. Hey, you seeing this? Yeah, I'm seeing this. Okay, I'm thinking long. What are you thinking? Oh, I'm thinking long too, right? Like we're gonna use him for validation through it, right? I have 100%. I have 100% confidence that Neo's gonna be a better trader even than me at some point, right? He might already be, because again, AI, I can teach him everything I know, but I've given him a wide range to understand other things, right? But AI is gonna always see things that you don't see as a human. It's just it's a fact, right? And so. And that's the most important thing, I think, because if I'm thinking of going long, I can say, hey, I'm waiting for this long. I just got a buy signal. You see the buy signal on the 1 minute. If I get that breach wick close above, man, I'm thinking of going long, right? Is there any concerns I should watch out for? And he's going to be able to look. And I mean, how many times have even myself, I missed a trap, right? We get a trap call over here, and I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, we got the breakout here. We're gonna go. Let's go long, and then it drops and you're like, oh shit, oh, there's a trap there, damn it, right? We're human, but I'm gonna be able to tell him like, hey, I'm looking at a long, man, this looks really good. I think this is a clean setup. What do you think? And he goes, it would be a clean setup except for you're taking a long right into the trap on the 1 minute. Oh shit, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. Let's wait, right? And so he's gonna keep you safe on a bad decision. So, and I think that's gonna be just so game changing, guys. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be game changing. So again, I have to cut the morning session early. I was gonna go till 10:30, but I'm gonna leave it open until 15 minutes. If you guys have questions, if I don't have any questions or feedback or thoughts, I'm gonna jump off early and go get some stuff done. I would have continued to play some trades here, but I do not like this range. It's a terrible range. So we had a big push.
Nick, I have a question.
Yep, good.
Yeah, when you say a breach wick close above, how can you tell on a Heikin-Ashi candle where you're closing?
So
did you just go by the wick breaching itself, or?
No, I want the body. And so when I say a breach wick close above, right, I'm looking, or let's use this as a close below. So if I say, okay, here's my initial breach wick. Let's say you decide to use this one, right? As you come across, I want to see that body close. Now, I do realize Heikin-Ashi is not going to be at that price of that body, right? Because it's an average. So your ticker price is likely going to be here when you enter that, right? But the thing that we have studied like crazy in the mentor program is when you go to something like candles, right, which is majority of people trade as candles. a lot of times you're going to get a false close on the candle side, right? And then it ends up a trap and goes the other way. By getting a close, when you do the breach wick and the close on the average, the actual full body closes below that candle, then now you've not only closed below it, but you have enough strength in it that the actual average has closed below it. Does that make sense on that?
Yeah.
And so now when I'm looking at the breach wick part of it, when I look through the movement, so if I look at this and I say, okay, we're pushing up, we got the buy, got my breach wick. If I get a close above, right, what's my concerns? Where that closes matters. If it closes here, it might not be great yet because we got the ORB to worry about. Even if I close above the ORB, I got the 15-minute LISMA to worry about, right? We might be taking some trades into some things that are really strong resistance, right? And so a lot of times when I'm looking for that, I'm going to say, okay, well, as we're pulling down, we're bouncing on the 200, makes sense. I know that there's some liquidity likely up here because we just rejected from there, right? If this closes above the ORB, that's fine, but I got this. If I get a close above there, what's my risk? Well, I got about a 30-point move, potential. You can make that decision to take it. Now, this is where NEO is giving that advice that when you start to really press these highs or these all-time highs, it's actually better if you want to stay long because of a rule that says, hey, I'm above the prior day high, or I'm above, the VWAP or whatever rule you do. You almost want to wait for either a pullback and then a push, breach wick, close above, and then take it, kind of like how we did here, right? Pullback, you got your breach wick, close above, push for your scalp, or, maybe you wait for something like this. Like I loved this last night when we were talking to NEO. I was like, hey, I'm waiting for a pullback. Oh, we just got a pullback. It created a deep absorption hammer, and we just got to close above it. And he was like, man, that is an absolutely great buy signal because, as we're pushing up, it shows that the sellers tried to push. They weren't strong enough. The bulls, kicked in, took them over. And it shows that they're not willing to let that price go, right? And so he's going to, when you tell him what you're looking at, he's going to actually give you that feedback as to what he thinks, right, on that. And then he might give you concerns. You can be like, well, I still got some concerns because I got this stuff up here, or I got the ORB there, and you'll be like, oh, that's a valid concern. You might not want to go long into the ORB, right? Like he's going to give you those things. So, but yeah, that's what I love about Haikadashi, man. I just and again, it's a style that I adopted that I will probably trade by for a while because it's done so well for me on it. When the market moves, how high it goes matters, right? How hard this wick breaches into there matters. Just like this ORB, right? This push, how hard this breaches into it matters. If we breach into it pretty strong and then we come back and we lose it, right? It's probably going to dump pretty hard. But if we breach into it strong and then we come back and we hold it as support, right? Then it's going to show a lot of strength. So that's what I'd like to see, these kind of breaches, and then I want to look at the micro and say, okay, well, this is the level I was worried about, 29. So on the micro, if we tap there and we come back, I don't want to go below 29. If I get below 29, that's going to show some weakness, and I just lost that ORB, right? And so it all kind of lines up. And the beauty is, like I said, guys, the way that I teach, all those instructions are going to be in NEO, so as when we go live with it, you're talking through these things, you can ask him and he's going to tell you, right, what he thinks and what it means and all that. I haven't added all that in there, but I'd be curious to see what his thoughts are on the Haikanashi closed body above. Let's see. I just was curious. I'm watching the markets and I have had more success using the Haikanashi candles. And I noticed for some reason when I use candles and I get a close of the body above the prior wick, I tend to get faked out at times. But when I use Haikanashi and I wait for the actual body of the Haikanashi to get above, it seems to work better. Is there any reason for that?
Haikanashi candles are calculated by averaging price, so they filter out noise and represent trend momentum better than standard candles, which is why waiting for the times body times to break a level works better. It confirms the trend is actually shifting rather than just having a random wick spike. Standard wicks on those candles can often just be overshoot from the averaging formula. So if you try to trade off those wicks, you're essentially trading the math error instead of the actual momentum. Stick to waiting for the body close. That's your signal that the trend has truly shifted and the momentum is sustainable. Have you noticed if your win rate improved once you stopped trying to anticipate the moves and waited for that confirmed body close?
I noticed I have a better win rate ever since I waited for the Heikin-Ashi body close, because sometimes the candle body will close and then I feel like they fake it out. Is that because they're trying to fake out retail who uses candle mostly?
That's exactly what's happening. The big players know retail traders are watching for those classic candle breakouts and will run the price through them to trigger stop losses and suck in liquidity before doing the opposite. By waiting for the Heikin-Ashi body to confirm, you're cutting through the noise and only committing when there's actual trend following weight behind the move. You're playing the game on their level by ignoring the bait. Are you finding that this extra filter keeps you out of those messy, chop-filled sessions more often?
So you see how I wanted to kind of show that, but you know that's the beauty of this, man. You know, and Scott, for you who asked the question, right, is now, you know, once we go live on this, you're going to be able to just ask him, right? And so I was curious what answer he'd give. So, but he's pretty close to what I said, right, on it. You know, it gets you away from the retail thought of it, right? So, I might have had the timer. That's fine. We're gonna be jumping off here soon, anyways. I forgot I overlaid the let me stop it. I'll overlay the Google Meet on it, so I didn't see the timer. They do that little stupid puzzle timer.